What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Somewhat Sports Podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined by only one titan of the industry this week. It's Dame. It's not Jurg. Jurg has he has weddings to go to. Actually, he has shit to do, stuff to
Big boy
attend.
stuff.
What was that?
Big boy stuff.
Big boy
Adult life.
stuff, adult stuff. Not like us. Not like us. We talk about sports for only like 4 people that actually listen. Not including me and Jurg, who are probably subscribed on our burner accounts. Anyway, neither here nor there. But yeah, like I said, Dame is with me this week. Dame, how are you?
I'm doing good. Big night today. We're obviously a little early on this, but the NFL schedule gets released today. So that's going to be exciting to see all these fun matchups that we're going to talk about eventually at the end of the show from the ones that were leaked. But I'm excited to see just all around the league and then specifically the Jets too.
Yeah, you mentioned the NFL schedule being leaked tonight. But some games, some notable games, have been leaked so far, and we're gonna talk about those ones. Yeah, but of course we had to record on Thursday, and of course the schedule leaks Thursday night, which means we'll probably miss, the nitty grits of the NFL schedule. But whatever, some pretty decent ones have been leaked, so it's gonna be fun to talk about those. But yeah, like Dame said, we're gonna talk about those notable ones, but we're also gonna talk about the NBA playoffs so far. The semifinals are about to come to an end. To be honest, I think like most,
It's
yeah, they're all like
two
3-2.
elimination games today. Yeah, they're
Yes,
all done.
yes. They're all 3-2 at the moment. But yeah, there's 2 elimination games tonight. It's the Sixers and the Heat and the Mavericks versus the Suns. Last night, Bucks beat the Celtics to go up 3-2, and the Grizzlies smacked the Warriors to stay alive and make it 3-2, but they're still down. Wow, I mean, we could talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, that's the rundown for this week. Me and Dame have agreed to start off with the NBA playoffs update. So, Dame, where do you want to start off with? East or West?
Let's start the East.
Okay, East. Let's start with Sixers and Heat, since that's probably going to end tonight. No, sorry, that's
Oh,
probably. Whoa,
wow.
whoa, 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 whoa! Easy, champ,
Wow.
easy. Whoa! Spoiler alert. No, there's a little mishap, a little mistake, but 3-2. They play tonight. Heat are up. They play in Philly for Game 6, which is tonight. Yeah. So I think this series, I feel like it's been, it's been okay. Obviously the first 2 games, no Joel Embiid, and then Joel Embiid comes back. They tie up the series, and then Miami just kind of slaps them up in Game 5, and they take lead 3-2. This is pretty. It's been a weird series. I don't want to say like if the Sixers had Embiid, maybe this whole series changes. Obviously, it looks different, but I don't know. I think I have more faith in the Heat than a lot more people do. I was concerned though when they dropped those 2 games when Embiid played, but yeah, I mean they play in Philly. I do think there's a good chance this series goes to 7. I could see Philly winning Game 6 here, and I think the Heat would take Game 7. That's just my opinion. Jimmy Butler turns it up in the playoffs, man, and he's been brilliant this series. He's been brilliant the whole playoffs, actually, and I think James Harden in elimination games, pretty suspect. That's going to be something to watch tonight, but I just think this could go 7. I think the Sixers close it out. No, I think the Sixers actually stay alive tonight. They win this game, and the Heat close it out in Game 7. Dude, I think it was like 2 games ago. What was it, Game 4? Yeah, when the Sixers tied it. Dude, the Heat were missing shots, bro. They were just poor. Just, bro, awful shooting-wise. And then no Duncan Robinson, and I know that caused a stir. I guess we could talk about that. But, yeah, I just got a feeling Sixers tied up, and then we finally get a Game 7, which I think we all want because there's been no Game 7s yet so far. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, this is like you said. This series kind of been back and forth, and I feel like every game has been really different, whether Embiid has been playing or not. Like last game, no one expected the Sixers to be smacked that bad, but it did happen. And whether Embiid's playing or not, I'm actually leaning towards the Heat closing out the series today.
Nice, nice.
I think just the smacking that the Sixers got last game is kind of similar to what I saw with the Celtics Bucks yesterday. I think that's really just going to take a toll on that team, and it's going to give all the confidence and momentum to the Miami Heat. And I know they're away. I know it's going to be tough. And I'm not saying it's a lock or anything like that. Like, I think it's a pretty decent chance that Philadelphia does come out with the W in this game and then probably loses in Game 7. But I just feel like a lot of people probably will have the Sixers win this game since they are at home, but I'm just going to lean towards Miami Heat. I just think they're more experienced in the high pressure moments. Like you mentioned, Jimmy Butler, I think he's just a player that really elevates his game at the biggest moments. This is something I was talking about the other day when I was with you. Like there's a few players in the NBA that just, and whether it's the playoffs or it's the biggest game, they just elevate their games to another level, and Jimmy Butler's absolutely one of them. You just see him every single playoffs, like see in regular season, he gets hurt. He sits out time. He kind of averages like that 22-6-6, 22-5-5. And then in the playoffs, he just elevates his game at every level, whether it's shootings, scoring, passing, defending, anything. So I just think he's going to have a big game today, big closeout game. And as long as all the other role players do their job, I think the Miami Heat are going to close this game out, no matter what Joel Embiid does. Because on the 76er side of it, I think Embiid is always going to show up. He's just going to show up. He's going to dominate this game. But at the end of the day, I'm just not a big believer in Harden coming up in the biggest game. And honestly, who can say I'm wrong? Because there's no track record to show that James Harden shows up in the biggest moments in the biggest games in the playoffs. So just all that coming together, I just see the Miami Heat closing this game out today.
Yeah, and I know Embiid caught some flack with how he kind of played in Game 5 because it was right after the MVP announcement and everyone was expecting him to go off. He didn't. But maybe a lot of people are expecting him to go off tonight, and which could be a possibility. But I do think the reason why I do think the Sixers could win it tonight, obviously you're going to play desperate because it's an elimination game. They are home. The Philly crowd is going to go. They're going to go off, good or bad. Actually, let's be honest. Yeah, I just think they take it. I mean, yeah, but again, I do think Miami wins this series. Like you said, yeah, Jimmy Butler turns it up in the playoffs. You know what? Dame gets credit. A few years ago, everyone was saying they'd have James Harden. Our group of friends, including me, said they'd have James Harden rather than Jimmy Butler. Damian stood strong, said Jimmy Butler. And yeah, a few years later, you become right. Full circle, man. So yeah, props to you, brother. Props to you. And I know you're a Jimmy Butler guy, so this is pretty vindicating for you. He's just one step closer to that championship. But yeah, let's move on over to the Bucks Celtics. Bucks lead 3-2. Wow, the Bucks took the lead last night in the series, and I thought Boston had it. I think everyone thought Boston had it. They were up like double digits in the fourth, and I'm just like, holy shit, bro! They're about to go up 3-2. And then I would assume that the Bucks would have won Game 6 regardless at home, but that would have put Boston in the driver's seat. Man, oh man, what a meltdown. What a meltdown. Us as Knicks fans, we can only feel so happy. But, dude, holy shit. I've had my gripes with Jrue Holiday, not defensively. I know he's elite defensively, but just offensively, he just gets me pissed off. But, bro, that man was box office yesterday. 2, earth-shattering stops at the end of the game. That block was insane, bro. Holy shit. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about the game-winning steal, but that block on Marcus Smart, and then to, bounce it off of him, goes out of bounds, ingenious, of course. Championship level IQ right there. Wow. Shout out to him. Obviously,
kind of great, the block. He didn't block out of bounds or really try to block out of bounds. He purposely tried to grab the ball to keep it in his possession. Then he kind of lost it, and then he had the smarts and IQ to really throw it off smart. It was incredible.
He was smart in that play, bro. So, I mean, come on. It was right there. But yeah, no, he was elite. And then, of course, the game, the clutch steal at the end. Marcus Smart trying to flop like it was a foul or something. Marcus Smart really pisses me off at this point. It's been happening for so long. I've become immune to it. And I'm just like, you know what, whatever. I'm just learning to live with Marcus Smart being like a cunt. But, dude, come on, dog. There's so much flopping and shit. And, there was that offensive foul on Giannis. I'm like, come on, dog. Giannis getting penalized for being too and too big, but whatever. Yeah, it was but you got to give credit to the Bucks, man. Giannis, these are the type of moments, these are the type of games that Giannis was already established, but then it's these type of moments when it gets into the clutch, he hits that clutch 3. Giannis is always going to do his thing, but he didn't let them fold. He didn't let them fold, and these are the moments that solidify Giannis, in my opinion, as the best player in the world. I know you agree, but he's entered that echelon, man. He's entered that territory of just greatness, especially towards the end. I already know he has a championship to solidify it, but now it's just on a consistent basis, it's these type of games that puts him in that LeBron Kobe category towards the end. You want the ball in their hands, they'll make something happen. He's that guy. But Drew Holiday being clutch defensively also helps, especially with no Middleton. They're in the driver's seat now. I think they win in Milwaukee in Game 6. Boston, huge meltdown. That was, I don't know. Like, Al Horford has had a great series, but it's like, it's Al Horford at the end of the day. It's like, can I trust him to do this every game? And you know what? He has proven me wrong. But now, if the Bucks smell blood right now, like, you have to take advantage of like games in which Al Horford is like your second best player at this point. So it was a historic. I mean, it wasn't historic, but it was like really bad meltdown, to be honest. And yeah, I think they're done. And I think if the Celtics won, there's a good chance if they won Game 5, there was a good chance they would win the series. And then I thought they would have had a good chance to make it to the finals. I know you disagree, but that's not the case anymore. Bucks in the driver's seat. I think they won Game 6. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just to start off. I do have the Bucks winning Game 6. I think at home it just gives them all the possible advantages, and kind of like I mentioned when I was talking about the Heat Sixers, I just think yesterday the Bucks took the Celtics soul in that game. You just saw Marcus Smart's face after the game, just being. I think they were up like 13 with 10 minutes left or something like that. Shout out to our boy Gallo. He said Bucks money line at that point, and even El Captain Manny, the betting god, said to not do that. But Gallo went against him anyway and won a lot of money. So shout out to that. But well, like I said, I just think the Celtics are done. They had it. I didn't think they were going to win this series, but they really made it closer than I thought it was going to be. And they had a chance to really take control of the series yesterday. And just that meltdown that they had was pretty sad to watch because Jason Tatum. I like Jason Tatum. I like Jaylen Brown. I think they're going to be their stars, and Jason Tatum's going to be a superstar in this league, and he deserves to win a chip and contend for a chip. But Giannis is just the best player in the world by far. There's no one close, and he just affects the game on both sides of the floor, defensively, offensively. He rebounds, he dribbles it up the court, he makes plays for everybody. So just watching him is a thing of beauty, and just that three that he hit just shows you all the development he's put into his game and work he's put into his game, because he did not have that shot a couple years ago, and definitely not in the clutch. Like, you would not see him even. You'd see him drive and try to create contact or try to dunk the ball going into the lane. But biggest moment right there, to give it to him open, knocks down the biggest three of the game. And of course, shout out to Drew Holiday, who is, although he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year and Marcus Smart did, Drew Holiday, in my opinion, is the best defender in the league, guard wise at least. Him and Draymond, I think, are just 1 and 2 from guard to forward. But man, the Bucks, even without Middleton, are getting it done, and this just shows you, to whoever possibly thinks that KD possibly still has a best player in the world argument, like, this guy got swept by the Celtics with Kyrie and his full team healthy. Giannis doesn't have his co-star in Chris Middleton, and he's one game away from beating the Celtics in the second round of the playoffs without having home court advantage. So, big shout out to the Bucks. The Celtics have been impressive, and their time will come. But I just think the Bucks team as a whole, and just Giannis as an overall great individual, just building on his legacy, I think is just too much for the Celtics to handle.
I mean, is there time gonna come, bro? I feel like if Giannis is still there, he's the guy, man. Until he's not the guy anymore, I don't know.
You think he's gonna have a LeBron run where he just makes the finals every single year?
What? I don't know about finals, but like, what can the Celtics do?
Someone else is gonna have to make. Maybe they don't run into them, and the Bucks lose to someone else. You just never know. I mean, unless you're predicting a LeBron run for Giannis, where he makes the finals every year. I just think there's gonna be a couple years here and there where someone else sneaks through the finals. Whether the Celtics see the Bucks or not, maybe someone else will knock the Bucks off, like the Heat or something like that.
Well, I don't know about finals, but I could see Eastern Conference Finals.
I guess, but like I said, if they could avoid the Bucks and the Bucks have some kind of collapse or something like that, like
I don't know.
I think the Celtics would be one of those teams that could sneak into the finals.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. It's just, and to be fair, like, I think the Celtics are a really good team. They play really good basketball, but honestly, like, they could have been in the driver's seat this series. So maybe I'm just bugging out and I'm the victim of the moment. But like, I mean, why? What I just saw last night, I'm like, what gives me other proof otherwise? Giannis is going to be that guy for I mean, how old is Giannis? Giannis is what, 28, 27?
27, I think, or 28.
Yeah, like there, bro. The dude's in his prime, dog. He's in his prime. I don't know, like at least the next 2 or 3 years, next or 4 or 5. Who knows? I'm trying to be 2 or 3, so I could just like kind of hope that the Knicks
Yeah.
have some type of chance. Anyway, but we all agree Bucks are taking this next game. All right, we move on to the West. I want to talk about. Well, let's talk about Warriors Grizzlies. Warriors are up 3-2. They were up 3-1 until they got slapped. I emphasize slapped by the Grizzlies. They won by like what, 40? I think something.
Yeah.
They were down 50 at some point. I think, bro. Holy shit, dude! I know the Grizzlies are really good without Ja, but I'm like, you know what? It's a closeout game. Warriors, they've been here before. They know what to do. They'll handle business. Nope, they didn't handle business. I was just like, it was wow, 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 wow. What a shocker. I have not much to say about this. But look, let's talk about the series in general, actually, before we actually talk about the fucking beatdown last night. They split in Memphis the first 2 games. Warriors won game 1, Grizzlies win game 2. Clay, man, championship level plays in game 1. They win by 1. Ja goes nuclear in game 2. Warriors slapped them in game 3. That's the game Ja goes out, and he's out for the rest of the playoffs, I believe, with a bone bruise in his knee. What was that? And then that was 2-1.
You missed a Grizzlies
Well,
win, I think, somewhere. Oh no, you're right.
no,
You're right.
and then 3-1 because
Mhm.
that was the Curry flop game.
Yeah.
Where the Warriors came back. They won at home, and then Grizzlies, won yesterday after that huge beatdown. You know what's weird, bro? Because like I had the Warriors kind of going to the finals. I was gonna have I had them in Phoenix, which I think it's the most likely scenario right now.
hmm
And dude, the Warriors have played like trash this series. Like they're up 3-2, and they were up 3-1 before yesterday. They have played like complete garbage. Like, well, to the Warriors standards. Let me be fair to the
Yeah.
Warriors standards. But like, the shooting's been off, the turnovers have been wild, and it's just like this is the Grizzlies. Like they're a really good team, but they don't have that experience yet. You have to take advantage of like that type of factor. And I thought the Warriors, dude, they're the type to like if they smell blood in the water, they're gonna take advantage easily. And you have
Mhm.
Draymond there, you have veterans, you literally have champions there to be like, all right, guys, let's finish this. Like I think the only I know you have young guys like Poole, Kuminga, and Wiggins. Well, I mean like Wiggins is pretty inexperienced when it comes to playoff basketball, but you have 3 other championship players, 4 if you count Iguodala, to be like, all right, guys, this is what we're gonna have to do. So I thought it's a good balance of like youth and veterans for the Warriors to kind of just like make this series quick, nice and easy. Um, did I say Jordan Poole in that
Mhm.
young core? Yeah, okay. So I'm like, okay, this is a good balance. Like you have the athleticism to kind of somewhat of the athleticism to kind of match the Grizzlies. I know they'll win that department, but I think they have enough to compete in terms of like the youthfulness. And then you have 3 champions right there. I'm like, this should be like a 5-game series. 6 at most. It probably is going to be 6 at most because I think they'll end it in Oracle, Chase Arena, the gentrified Oracle, sorry. Dude, what happened last game, bro? Draymond celebrating, well, I think it was Whoop That Trick was playing, he was just like
Mhm.
joining in on the fun. He knows, he doesn't care, bro. He thinks they're going to win game 6. I don't think Draymond's will swallow. I would love to be in a scenario, bro, where I'm like, getting smacked around in a life situation and I'm just smiling through it all because I have a feeling that it's going to be all right at the end of the day. It's not, personally, but for them, I think it is. It must be nice to have that feeling, but geez. I mean, at least it's an interesting series now. Ja's out for the rest of the playoffs, so he's not going to be there, but who knows, man? It could be an upset. I just don't think so. Kudos to them for not going out without a fight. Um, I'll have my Grizzlies take after the series, of course. I'm either gonna get shat on or I'm gonna not be right because Ja's not in it, so I can't really talk shit. But yeah, disappointed in the Warriors. I still think they'll win in Game 6 in Chase Arena. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Warriors have this on lock. Like, put your house on it. But yeah, yesterday was absolutely embarrassing. I don't know what happened from Steph Curry having 14 points, Jordan Poole having 3 points, Kuminga being your second leading scorer behind Klay Thompson. Andrew Wiggins had 5. Like, this is absolutely an atrocity looking at the box score. And being down 50 at one point with a team that doesn't have their superstar is bad. I don't care if you were checked out. I don't care if you just wanted to win at home in Game 6. It does not matter. You, as a championship contending team, you should. It's unacceptable to get a smacking like this in the playoffs. Um, but like you mentioned, like they're gonna take care of the business in Game 6. They just have, in my opinion, they have too many stars and too much experience to not take care of Game 6. But God forbid they don't take care of Game 6. Game 7 in Memphis
Oh
is
yeah.
going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. That crowd is going to be nuts. All the pressure is going to be on Golden State.
Yeah.
No pressure is going to be on Memphis, especially without. Maybe if they still had Ja, like the pressure would even out. But if they can somehow steal Game 6 in Golden State and go back to Memphis, like all the pressures on Steph, Clay, Draymond, all that entire team. But I think big props to Memphis for really grinding this series out with the after the star went out. Um, I mean, a 50-point win is the same thing as a 2-point win. At the end of the day, a win's a win, and
Wow.
a loss is a loss. But I don't think the Warriors are gonna lose this. Like, I don't have much to say after that. I just think, like you said, all the championship experience they have at home, that crowd is gonna be crazy for what you can say about them because it's obviously not the same kind of crowd, but I just think they're going to feed off that. They're going to take care of business because they know the real matchup is the next round, whether it's the Mavs or the Suns. Pop, I'm not going to ruin my pick yet because that's what we're talking about next. But I think they're really they know what they got to do because they know they can't afford to go to Game 7 where anything can happen.
Facts. I don't know, man. Like Game 4, Grizzlies without Ja, they had that game.
They had that game. They absolutely had that game. And if they won that, wow, having 2 games to close it out, wow.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Holy shit. I don't know. It's just the
Just
Warriors.
know Steph's resume cannot withhold a finals 3-1 loss and a 3-1 loss in the second round of the West Conference Finals without Ja.
Oh yeah, that's.
It's going to be a massive,
I mean,
massive hit.
a mutual friend of ours is you might be sweating, Matt. I love you, but I know you're sweating right now, bro. It's cool. But we're right there with you. We're gonna hold your
All
hand
right,
in the process. All right.
we think Golden State's taking care of business, but we're just saying hypothetically,
Yeah.
if they don't,
Yeah.
you're in for a lot of trouble.
Okay. Well, yeah, from Damien. All right. Last series to talk about: Suns versus Mavericks. Game 6 tonight. Suns up 3-2. They're gonna be in Dallas tonight, actually. Shout out to the Mavs. They won games 3 and 4 to tie it up 2-2. Thank God, because after the first 2 games, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a cakewalk for Phoenix. Nope. I think obviously it's very Luka dominated offense, but it was a very, very Luka dominated offense in the first 2 games, and it was just kind of Luka and no one else. But I do think being at home does help a lot.
It helps the shooters. All the role
Yeah,
players
yeah,
shoot a lot better
and
at home.
the role players were hitting, dog. Holy shit! I have never seen such consistency from 3-point range from the role players, man. Everyone was hitting shots, especially in Game 4. I was like, God damn, bro. My boy Frank even hit a 3. But yeah, they're gonna be in Dallas tonight. It's just I think Dallas could win. I think they're likely to win tonight. I think so. Would I be surprised if
I
Phoenix
agree.
wins? No. But I think I'll give it to Dallas. I think I'll give it to Dallas, and then I think Phoenix is gonna slap them in Game 7 because Phoenix is just really good at home. Really good at home. So shout out to them. Um but yeah, it's just this series got a little chippy, a little personal, and I kind of like it. I don't know what the status is on Jay Crowder tonight because I know he kind of effed up his shoulder last
Oh yeah.
game, so I don't know if he's questionable or if he's out. That would be pretty big if he's out for like the rest of the series or even like the next round if they do advance because that's like a pretty big loss. We're not Jay Crowder fans in the slightest, but he does have some levels of significance for the Phoenix Suns team. However, I think the
He's
Suns.
playing Game 6. I just looked it up. He's not
Okay,
listed on the injury report.
okay. Well, regardless, I still think the Mavericks could take this game. I think again, it's my same logic for the Sixers and the Heat. They're the kind of the desperation team. They'll be at home. They'll kind of have the advantage going into this. They've kind of slapped the Suns too at home. When in games 3 and 4. So, I mean, I don't remember the game 3. I don't know if it was close or not, but I just know that the Mavericks kind of took it. Yeah, Luka is Luka. You know what we're getting from him. It's the same way we talked about Embiid and Giannis. Luka is in that stratosphere. But it's up to the role players at this point. It's really up to the role players. I think the Suns are gonna have a huge advantage for Game 7. Because the Phoenix crowd will also be crazy as well. Anything could happen, man. I feel like you have Luka, so if you have Luka, you have a for
You
Game
have the
7.
advantage as in a one game series. You have the
Yes,
advantage if you have Luca.
yes, yes. I know the Phoenix Suns are a better team, but like you just have a modicum of hope if you have Luka Doncic. But yeah, what do you got to say about it, Dame?
But yeah, I agree. I do think the Mavs are going to take this game. It's kind of like what I mentioned. Like the role players just shoot better at home. It's not even just the Mavs. It's just overall in the NBA. You always see this in series when role players get to play at home. They just play better, especially shoot better. And we saw this the last home game they had where they went nuclear from three, and everybody was open. Every time Luka took three dribbles inside the 3 point line, kicked it out, someone was always open, no matter what. Whether it was the wing, corner, opposite corner, no matter what, someone was always open, and they were making it like 50% of the time. It was ridiculous, honestly, and nothing the Suns could do about it. I don't know why. I don't know why someone was always open, why they couldn't stop it,
It's
but they
Luka,
just
bro.
couldn't. Yeah, I know, and that's why you just never know what's gonna happen in Game 7.
Yeah,
And as I predict, the Mavs will make a Game 7, and I do think the Suns will win in Game 7 because, like you mentioned, they're just really good at home, and I think they're just more. I don't want to say more experienced because they're not super experienced because I think last year was their only time making the playoffs in a long time, but like I think they're. I don't even know how to explain it. They're more like established, I guess.
wait,
And I
Chris
think
Paul too.
yeah, having Chris Paul definitely helps a lot. Being that leader, that floor general that can kind of relax everybody in the biggest moments. And the Mavs really just have Luka to do that. And low key, Luka's kind of immature and really hasn't been in that many big moments, that many big games. So that's why I'd kind of lean with the Suns in Game 7. But like we both mentioned, like just having Luka in a Game 7, a guy with that's that good, that great, that just gives you that little bit of an edge that gives you a good chance to win that game because he can just go for 45, 12, and 15. And just by himself, he could will you to win in just a one-game series, whether it's home or away. We've seen a lot of great players do that, whether it's from LeBron to Giannis to KD to Steph. All these all-time great players have had games like that where just willed their team when no one expected them to win. So I will definitely give the Mavs a fighting chance if they make it to Game 7 because of the greatness of Luka, but I just think the Suns will get the job done in Game 7 if they're not today. Because I do think the Suns have a chance to take the games today, just like they did in New
Yeah,
Orleans
yeah,
last
yeah, yeah.
series
Yeah.
away in Game 6 when kind of everyone expected New Orleans to win. But I just think today Luka is gonna have a big game, and these role players are gonna show up at home, really going with that crowd and making all their shots.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's gonna be hard to like emulate the masterful shooting performance the Mavs had in Game 4.
Yeah,
But they are home again. We're giving them the edge, but you got to try and replicate that. But who knows? Yeah, Brunson's gonna need to show up. The Dinwiddies of the world. Yeah, but we'll see. Who knows? I hope. Look, if we get 2 Game 7s out of this,
it'd be fantastic.
that'd be great. All right, I think that's it for NBA playoff talk. Let's move on over to the NFL world, where we're going to talk about some leaked games for the 2022-2023 NFL season. The official schedules come out tonight, I believe, but we're recording in the daytime because that's life. But we're going to talk about some notable ones, about 5, but we're going to make it 6 because we're Jets fans here, and we just got leaked of the Jets opener. So we're going to talk about that last thing. Do you want to talk about the last?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could
it's
finish
the,
it
I
off.
guess. Okay, so in order, we'll go in order right now. Let me just say all of them, and then we'll go tackle them one by one. Chargers versus Chiefs, Thursday Night Football in Week 2. Chiefs versus Bucks, Week 4. Cowboys versus Packers, Week 10. Cardinals versus 49ers, Week 11 in Mexico. Broncos versus Rams, Week 16, and that's a Christmas game. And of course, because we're Jets fans, we're going to add it on. Jets open up against the Ravens. I don't know if it's at home or if it's away, but they open up
They're
against the
home.
Ravens.
They're home.
Okay, but that's their season opener. Sigh. But okay, damn, let's talk about this one by one. Some pretty elite games here. But Chargers, Chiefs. Yeah, so I think any AFC West game is going to be highly elite. I mean, this is the death
Yeah,
division.
that division is absolutely gonna have the most primetime games. It's a
Oh
fact.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and rightfully so. So we got Herbert versus Mahomes. Um, Obviously the Chargers are a better team. They've made some really good key offseason moves here, defensively especially. But the Chiefs, no Tyreek Hill. It'll be a test with no Tyreek Hill against one of the more elite teams in the NFL, or at least in my opinion, one of the elite teams going forward in the Chargers. But yeah, Tyreek Hill isn't there anymore. Juju Smith-Schuster, your boy. I do think the Chiefs. I wasn't here for the NFL draft episode, the recap, but I love the Chiefs'
Yeah,
draft. They made some
we
really
did. They,
solid
they were one
picks.
of our winners for all of us.
Yeah, I think they filled in a lot of holes. But yeah, so I think defensively they're good now. I'm really curious to see what the offense is going to look like. I trust Andy Reid. I trust Mahomes. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the Chargers because they've always had problems with the Chargers, to be honest. So I think this is going to be a great game. I'm glad we're getting it early. They're going to play again later in the season because I think division
Yeah,
rival
twice.
teams play twice. So yeah, I'm glad this is going to be one of the early games. It's going to be at prime time, deservedly so, elite. But again, it's always great to see Mahomes versus Herbert. But we're not going to make predictions right now. I just think we're in for an elite game. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, last year when they played the Chargers Chiefs play on Thursday Night Football was that game where the Chiefs came back at the end with the Travis Kelsey play, the Travis Kelsey
Great
plays.
game.
Yeah, I forgot what movie I was watching. That I went to watch. I think maybe it was Spider Man. I don't know,
No
but
way.
it doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, whenever the Chiefs and Chargers play, it's always fireworks. It's always a great game on both sides. These teams really match up well against each other, and they have two great QBs. Um, the Chargers obviously improved a lot, both on the offensive end, from adding wide receivers to improving the offensive line, and on defense, obviously adding Khalil Mack, adding J.C. Jackson, adding Joseph Day from the Rams for the defensive line. Like the Chargers really, they probably improved more than the Chiefs did this offseason. Obviously, the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill, but they had a really excellent draft, one of the best drafts in the league. And the Chiefs obviously just always have the edge because they have Patrick Mahomes. So, just like you said, having this early is very exciting, especially because it's Thursday Night Football. So it's kind of like an extended Week 1 game. So we're gonna get it extremely early. A lot of eyes are gonna be on it because obviously beginning of the year, football's back. Everyone's excited to watch football. So having that as a Thursday night game in Week 2 is gonna be really exciting. Um, I'm really excited for it because a lot of people are now doubting Mahomes and what he can do without Tyreek Hill. But I think he's going to be just fine. And with that offense, even if he doesn't have a Tyreek Hill, he still has a bunch of good weapons from Travis Kelsey, Juju Smith-Schuster. They drafted Sky Moore, who's a great fit there. And obviously having Andy Reid as a head coach makes everything easier. So really the Chiefs testing themselves and that offense and the Chargers really testing their new look defense is going to be a great matchup on both sides.
You're right. You're right. The ingredients are there for a banger of a game. But yeah, Chiefs Bucks Week 4. This is a rematch from the Super Bowl 2 years ago, I believe. Yeah, the Chiefs get pretty tough schedule, I would say. But yeah, Tom Brady's back. That'll be Mahomes versus Brady. No predictions yet, but I did did the Bucks make any? What moves did the Bucks make this offseason?
On
Any notable?
retiring Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs. Yeah, could take this one. I think this will be one they mark on their calendar, especially like I know it's Tom Brady, but again, it's a game for them to kind of get revenge after they got blown out by them in the Super Bowl a few years ago. Um, yeah, it's always good to see Mahomes versus Brady. This might be the last time we see them face off. So it'll be really interesting to watch. But yeah, Chiefs getting some marquee games pretty early on. I think it'll be a good one. Again, another test for the Chiefs. But not much to say about this. It's going to be interesting, but I think it's also going to be interesting to see how the Bucks play against the Chiefs because obviously the Bucks they're going to make the playoffs. Their division kind of sucks. However, I believe they don't have Godwin until late in the season, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Brady's not it's Brady and he still has like Evans and all that
I
and
mean,
no
Gronk hasn't came back yet either, so that's still a question mark as well.
exactly. So there's a lot of question marks for the Bucks. I think this will be a good test for them, more so because I do think the Chiefs, they're gonna have the Chargers on week 2. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be more of a test for the Bucks than it is gonna be for the Chiefs, to be honest. Because again, it's one of the elite teams that they play, and Brady's unretired, but he's not going to have the same weapons he had 2 years ago. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun matchup, though. But it's, again, cool to see Mahomes versus Brady at least one last time. Any comments on that?
Yeah, definitely gonna be cool to see them going against each other one more time after we saw them in the Super Bowl. And obviously, the Super Bowl is a disaster for the Chiefs. The offensive line got absolutely eaten up, and now the Chiefs have one of the best offensive lines in the league. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that defense offensive line matches up now. But yeah, I definitely do agree with you. I think is more of a test to the Bucks because their division is so weak, and the NFC isn't as strong as the AFC. So they're not going to see as many tough opponents as the Chiefs will all season because the Chiefs are seeing the Raiders twice, the Broncos twice, the Chargers twice. Like they're going to be tested all season long.
Yeah.
So I would really wouldn't pinpoint this matchup as a test for the Chiefs because like they faced AFC West so many times. So for the Bucks, this is really going to be a test because Tom Brady obviously is great, and I'm not saying he's gonna fall off a cliff this year, but it's always a wait and see when or if he really becomes a little worse, and you kind of see that um, old age come onto the field, and he really becomes a little worse. So it's gonna be interesting to see if this is the year. If that happens, I don't think it will because I just think he just defines all odds how great he
Yeah.
is, and age really doesn't matter to him. But it's always a wait and see with him. You kind of saw the last year with the Patriots. I was like, oh, this is it, and then he obviously came back to the Bucks and won a Super Bowl. But yeah, I'm excited to see this game as well. Tom Brady versus Mahomes is always a great goat and baby goat. But yeah, that's it.
For sure. For sure. You think this is Tom Brady's last season? I mean, who knows at this point, but
I don't know. He's getting paid $37 million a year from Fox, so I'd retire right now if I was him. But
yeah, I just don't want to see Brady anymore. I don't care. I just don't. I think the NFL's in massively good hands, to be honest. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm not.
30 probably make. Yeah, he's making more money. Pretty wild, but it is Thomas Bradley, so whatever. All right, finally move away from the Chiefs suck, but it's always we're Chiefs. This is a pro Chiefs podcast. Cowboys versus Packers, Week 10. Dame, I have not much to say about this. It's going to be interesting to see how the Packers operate without Devontae Adams. This will also be a big test for the Cowboys. Will they have Gallup back? Is Gallup out for the season?
No, I think he should be back by week 10. This is a week 10 game. I think he's gonna be out because I don't remember when he tore his ACL, but I don't think it was too late into the season where it was near the playoffs. So I think by week 10 he definitely should be back.
Okay, well, I mean, that'll make it a little bit more interesting, I believe. I do think, yeah, I think the Packers, I mean, you think the Packers will be all right without Devontae Adams. I don't think they'll be as good, but again, they have Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
They drafted a lot.
you have personal beef with
I
Aaron
do,
Rodgers.
I
So.
do. And that could be an episode for a later time. But they did draft Christian Watson. I know you're a big fan of his.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, they're bringing back the same team. They're running it back just without Devontae Adams, which obviously is a massive loss. But they also made some key additions defensively via the draft. So yeah, I think this is, I don't know. It's the Cowboys at the end of the day, bro. Like I think, spoiler, I think the Packers will take this. Hopefully the Cowboys will make it fun. But this will be a big game for our friend Gallo. For our friend Gallo, this is a rematch from all those years ago when Aaron Rodgers, you know, snatched their heart out. But yeah, I hope it's a good game. I just hope it's not a blowout by that time. But yeah, I think Packers will take this. Not much to say about this from my end, other than the fact that it's going to be interesting to watch the Packers this year without Devontae Adams. And I guess when you play the Cowboys, it's a marquee matchup, so it's cool. It'll be entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I definitely think the Packers aren't going to be as good as they were the past few years because Devontae Adams is out and they don't really have a true number one receiver. No matter how much I like Christian Watson or how good I think he's going to be or how good he will be, he's not Devontae Adams or anything close to it, especially not his rookie year. And just for the Packers, having Devontae Adams kind of makes everyone around in the wide receiver room better because of all the pressure he takes off everybody else. But now they don't really have that guy. Even if Christian Watson's a 1,000-yard receiver, he's not going to take all the attention onto him and onto other receivers. Like it's going to be spread out, so it's going to be harder for the Packers to really move the ball. I still think they'll be okay because of their division, but I think it's an interesting game because Aaron Rodgers really owns the Packers, whether it's regular season or playoffs. Like he just always beats them and always
You
takes
mean the
their heart out.
Cowboys?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Uh, he Aaron Rodgers and the Packers just own the Cowboys, and whether it's the regular season or the playoffs, he just always takes their heart out in the last moments when everyone thinks the Cowboys finally got the win on Aaron Rodgers. He just comes out of nowhere in the clutch and gets it done. So that's gonna be a fun matchup here. I'm not sure where it is, if it's in Lambeau or Dallas. But I really don't think at the end of the day it will matter because I do believe Aaron Rodgers owns the Cowboys, and I think that's going to continue. I don't know how this season will play out until Week 10, but just going based off history, I'm just going to trust Aaron Rodgers no matter who his receivers are, who that team is. He just owns the Cowboys, and I think he's going to get the job done.
Yeah, for sure. I believe you. I'm with you on that. I think Aaron Rodgers does own the Cowboys, and I think this will be no different. But it would be huge for the Cowboys if they do beat the Packers for them, especially that late in the season. Could be a momentum shifter. Who knows? Who knows how the Cowboys end up? All right, Cardinals 49ers Week 11 in Mexico. This is one of the international games. I think this will be. It, I think both these teams have fun and storylines going into the season. I think there's the whole Kyler Murray debate. Um, Oh, I mean, wait, this is week 11. They'll have Hopkins, right? Yeah. So Hopkins
Yeah.
will be back. They have Hollywood Brown now. The whole Kyler Murray contract situation's kind of fun to like follow up on. Um, yeah. So I mean, the Cardinals they had a really good beginning of the season last year. And then they kind of things got shaky towards the second half. They got blitzed by the Rams in the playoffs. So it's a big year for the Cardinals, especially with all the decisions they have to make on their future going forward, especially with the Kyler Murray contract situation. A lot of storyline questions, but I think this will be a good test for them. So the 49ers, I guess you're keeping Debo. Um, Jimmy G, I don't think will be the quarterback. It'll be Trey. I mean, it'll be cool to watch Trey Lance versus Kyler Murray, but again, this will be an international game, so I think it'll be fun for a change in scenery for the NFL. These are two teams that, and yeah, same division, I believe. Yeah, NFC West. This will be a good division rivalry here. I think a battle of the young quarterbacks will be fun to watch. I think Trey Lance will be starting for the 49ers by then. I think he should. They don't got any better options, to be honest. But Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz, and then on the other side, you have your Debo's.
No, we'll see about Debo.
Yeah, you still think there's a possibility?
There's always a possibility. If he asked out, he asked out. I don't
But I
know.
think I don't know. Matt said that he followed everyone back on IG.
I don't care what Matt has to say.
Okay, all right, but yeah, I just think it'll be a fun game regardless. What do you think?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, it's the Mexico game. I don't think they played in Mexico for a while. I think the last Mexico game was it the Rams and Chiefs, maybe.
Maybe I
No,
don't know.
no, that was in USC. Never mind. But I forgot the last Mexico game was pretty good. I just forgot what it was. Obviously, all international games have a lot of eyes on them. And the NFL always tries to make them good because they obviously want to make the game global and bring some international fans in. And I think this game will be good from Kyle, like you said, Kyle Murray versus Trey Lance. Hopefully, for the Niners' sake, Trey Lance is starting by week 11 and hasn't been benched yet. But if he is starting by week 11, it means he's semi good and semi decent and been doing a good job. So that should be a good matchup. Two running, electrifying quarterbacks. DeAndre Hopkins should be back from suspension by then. So that's going to be fun to see him and Hollywood Brown in that offense with Kyle Murray throwing the ball. And obviously, 49er defense is a hard matchup for any offense, and they've had pretty good matchups against Kyle Murray in the past. So I see no different in this game. Um, but yeah, like you said, the Cardinals always start off high and kind of slow down at the end, and a lot of that has to do with Kyle Murray. He gets banged up kind of beginning of the year, and then kind of wears down towards the end. It's going to be interesting to see if this all season, after a little bit of drama with the Cardinals from unfollowing them to kind of asking for a new contract, I think, and then obviously demanding the trade for Hollywood Brown because they played with each other in Oklahoma. So there's a little bit of drama there. I think they kind of figure it out now, but it's going to be interesting to see if Kyle Murray maybe not really tweaks his game, but makes adjustments to really protect himself so he doesn't wear down towards the end of the season. But yeah, it's going to be a fun game. It always is when these two division rivals play against each other, and having all the international eyes on them should make it even better.
Yeah, for sure. And these look NFC is pretty dry this year in terms of just like legitimate contenders. I think these two are actually like playoff contenders. I think both these teams could actually make the playoffs. They're yeah. I mean, that's That division's a 3-team division. Obviously, it's the Rams to like
This is
lose.
really the only good, really solid division in NFC. All
Yeah,
the other
and
divisions suck.
both teams have a chance. I think they're both playoff contenders. So yeah, you're
Mhm.
right. And now we move on over to not the last game, a Christmas game: Broncos versus Rams, Week 16. Man, this is gonna be. I'm really excited for this matchup. Obviously, the Broncos they have Russell Wilson. They're considered contenders now. What better test? This is the theme this week. Just tests against the champions, the Rams. This is going to be a great game in my opinion. I love the fact that we're getting football on Christmas. I hope this will be in LA for both teams' sake, to avoid that Colorado weather. But yeah, I mean, I think the Rams have like the most difficult schedule in the
Yeah,
NFL this year. And yeah, this is going to be a fun one. I think this could honestly be, Super Bowl final,
could be,
possibly.
could be.
I wouldn't mind it. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch the Broncos, especially when they play teams like the Rams. Just yeah, a battle of great teams in my opinion. Uh, obviously no OBJ for the Rams, but they replaced him with Allen Robinson. Obviously, you have Cooper Cup. Uh, it's gonna be a good like obviously that Rams offense is great. It's gonna be a good test for them as they go against the Broncos defense, but the Broncos, you have Russell Wilson now. You're gonna go against Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey.
Bobby
Everyone wants.
Wagner now too.
What'd you say? Oh, Bobby
Can't
Wagner.
forget
Yeah,
him.
exactly,
Can't forget
exactly.
that.
So
Longtime teammate of Russell Wilson in
yeah, you're
Seattle,
right. You're
so
right. You're
they're
right.
familiar
Forgot
with each
about
other.
that. So I mean, if you want to be like, look, I think the Broncos are making the playoffs. Spoiler alert: they could be a championship team. I believe so. But what better way to find out when you go against the champs? It's gonna be. This is the type of game that kind of defines like expectations in my opinion. It kind of defines seasons. And the fact that it's gonna like come pretty late into the season, it's week 16. I think it's the second to last season. Who knows by that time what the standings will look like, but I do think going into the playoffs, we talk about this all the time, momentum is everything. So I think for both teams, obviously I think this game would mean a little bit more to the Broncos and the Rams because again, Rams, we know what their ceiling is. For the Broncos, expectations, elite team. How elite can you be? This is the type of game that kind of like defines the eliteness of them. So again, I think it's gonna be more important for them. And again, I talked about it. Momentum is everything. So if you could beat the Rams from the Broncos' perspective this late into the season, going into the playoffs, I assume so. They go into the playoffs and you beat the champs. That's huge. That is huge. And I think that'll be all the confidence in the world. Russell, like we can't act like Russell Wilson doesn't have championship experience here. Like he's a winner, bro. He's a champ. But yeah, I think it's gonna be fun regardless. I love seeing elite teams kind of gut it out. What do you think?
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun game, especially towards the end of the season. We're really gonna know what these two teams are about. Hopefully, they're all healthy, especially the quarterbacks and all the really star players. But having the Broncos are like I mentioned with the Chiefs before. They're gonna have tests all season long because of the division they play in. So having to play another test outside of that division is gonna be an interesting game. But it's going to be definitely a test for Russell Wilson going against the champs. And by this time, we're really going to know if it's working out or not because they're either going to be in playoff contention or they're not. Week 16 is 1 week away from the final week. No, 2 weeks away from the final week of the season because the season obviously got extended. So I think they'll be fine. I'm not a believer that they'll make the playoffs. I think they're going to be one of the teams that are going to be out because I
Oh,
think Russell Wilson has actually been declining these past few years, and I know a lot of it has to do with the Seahawks and that organization. But from the way he's thrown the ball to the way he's really going through the offense, I haven't seen the same Russell Wilson that I've seen in the past. Now I could be wrong. I definitely think they'll be competitive and they'll be in a bubble. I just think they'll be one of the first teams out of the playoffs. Um, Now I hope I'm wrong because I love star power. I love seeing stars in the playoffs, but that's just my opinion. And I think this is going to be one of the big games to decide their faith, whether they do make the playoffs or not, because it's so late in the season. So this is definitely going to be an interesting game because of all the talent and because it's so late in the season. I think it's going to have heavy playoff implications.
yep.
Not only for the Broncos to make the playoffs, but although I think the Rams are obviously pretty much a lock to make the playoffs, I think game is going to be very important for their seeding or the division standings too. So definitely fun. That's in the late in the season, but too, I love late in the season big matchups
Yeah.
because it's always big implications.
Yeah. I think that's one thing the NFL has over a lot of other sports, especially the NBA, man. Like you give a shit about games. late in the season in the NFL. So yeah, I mean, hot take right there. Not believing the Broncos as much. Oh, man, I mean, the AFC West is just so difficult to predict, to be honest. But you're right. I mean, Russ Wilson has been the same, but I do think the Seahawks has been a big part of that. I mean, look, he has it now. Like, he has the weapons, he has the youth on his side. The defense is obviously better in Seattle, in Denver. Excuse me, Jesus. Who knows? Who knows? I just like the fact that it's going to be a marquee matchup late into the season. You're right. There's big playoff implications. Nothing better. But yeah, let's move on over to our final game: the Jets versus the Ravens. We just found out about this before we started recording. I kind of sighed at this name when you sent it because I'm like, God damn it, bro! Why do we got to start against the Ravens now? I don't want to like spoil this for future episodes, but I think the Jets got better this offseason. Would you?
Hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. From
Yeah.
the free agency to the draft, and
Yes.
from just young guys getting better from last year and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes. No big contracts, this and that. I think we nailed the draft. I think we had the best draft of all the NFL. We had the best draft. I do think in competition for having the best draft is the Ravens. So the Ravens secondary, very elite. It's going to be a good test for the Jets' youth, for their young guys, especially Zach Wilson. It's going to be a big season for Zach Wilson. I know it's year 2, but now with the team kind of getting better, you kind of go as far as where your young quarterback takes you. And it's going to be Zach. I do have faith in him. I know you do as well. This is going to be a huge test. I hate the fact that it's week 1 because that Ravens defense is good, man, and they're going to be healthy. They got hit with injury bug last year, which I think kind of derailed their season, obviously. And then it just towards the end they kind of collapsed. But this is going to be huge for them. Ravens, I believe, again, no Hollywood Brown. Lamar Jackson doesn't have his one weapon that he could rely on. But again, I expect Rashad Bateman to kind of take a leap. I kind of like Rashad Bateman a lot. But this is going to be a good test for the Jets, especially, us as Jets fans. We want them to win. I do think they could win it. Obviously, and this is very super, super early predictions. We don't know how like rosters will look like by the time the NFL season starts. But I think the Jets could make this an interesting game. I think people write them off. I will not. I will not. I think this is going to be obviously a huge test for them, likely an L. But you know what? I think they could make it tough for the Ravens at least. But this is going to be a fun game, especially for us Jets fans to kind of determine how the season will go. I mean, if it's a blowout, it's like damn, kind of defeated. But if they win, obviously huge. If they lose in
Super Bowl aspirations if they
yes,
win.
yes, yes. If they lose in close fashion, I'll still be encouraged. These are one of the games that a lot of people expect to lose. But if you lose by like one possession and like towards the end, whatever. It's a good development. You see something there. There's light at the end of the tunnel. That just means, again, like you said, the Super Bowl will just be delayed for a bit. Delayed, not denied. That's the theme here. But yeah, and again, from the Ravens' perspective, they're, I think, healthy. They're playoff team, I believe. The loss of Hollywood Brown is huge, but I still think they're a good team. I think they'll have Dobbins back by the time the NFL season starts. That's just me. What do you think?
Yeah, like you said, the Jets definitely got better this offseason. So Zach Wilson obviously got thicker, which is good for a quarterback because he was pretty skinny going into the league last year. So taking hits really wasn't good for his development. But then obviously with Elijah Moore and Zach Wilson has been on a whole country road trip from to seeing all his receivers and really building that chemistry with a lot of guys. So that's really encouraging to see. But uh, then obviously they killed the draft and they had a pretty good free agency as well. So the Jets definitely are improved. And although I would love to see maybe say the Jaguars week 1 and kind of have an easy way, I kind of like that they have a test week 1. The Ravens obviously also had a great draft, improved the defense that was already great, and they have a lot of guys on that defense coming back from injury. So Zach Wilson's definitely gonna have his hands full week 1, especially with that secondary and this improving receiving core is gonna have their hands full from Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, all these guys going against guys like Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams. And obviously, the Jets' offensive line has their hands full as well. So just the entire team has their hands full. It's going to be a great test. Do I expect them to win? No. But what I expect from the Jets this season is progress and being able to stay competitive in games that they're kind of outmatched in. And hopefully that's what I see in week 1. I don't want to see a game where they're down 14-0 in the first quarter and really somewhat make it close in the fourth quarter where it's garbage time. I want to stay competitive throughout the game, kind of at most 2-possession game, but really keep that a 1-possession game throughout the game. And then maybe say they just don't get it done in the fourth quarter on the last possession, whether it's on defense or offense. But I just want to be able to see progression and see that this team is better than they were last year, and they're not just going to be pushed around by these elite teams in the NFL. And I think that's what will happen because, like I said, Zach Wilson really built chemistry this offseason with a lot of the guys. He's shown a lot of progression and will to really become better. And obviously the roster just has better talent all around. So that's what I hope I see, and that's what I think I'm going to see. But I'm not expecting a win because if I expect it, I'm just going to get disappointed. But God forbid they do, and we're going to Super Bowl.
I agree. I mean, those bets, why not, right? How much money you put on the Jets to win it all? I mean, look, someone's going to need to be the Bengals of this season, right? Because I don't think the Bengals are going to be the Bengals this season. Yeah. Why not the Jets? Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, spoiler alert. I don't think the Bengals are going to make it to the Super Bowl again. Who knows? That's just me talking. But I know Jurg thinks so. Shout out to Jurg. All right, that'll do it for this week. Wow. Pretty stacked episode, I believe. I mean, I think we nailed it, Dame. I think we nailed it. So when we don't have our fearless leader Jurg with us, some say it's tough, but I think me and you navigated the ship pretty well. You can follow us on the socials, SomeWhatSports on Instagram. We put up some cool little graphics there. NFL season's coming up. So much movement already. NBA offseason's pulling up. Free agency movements. Check us out on SomeWhatSports. We do a lot of cool shit over there. We are on Spotify now, Dame. I don't know if you noticed this. But we're on Spotify now. Me and Jurg have been kind of wrestling with the idea for a bit. But we are on Spotify, Somewhat Space Sports. You'll see our logo there. I think we're just expanding all over. Just next stop is t-shirt designs. Who knows? But other than that, we got nothing else to plug in. Jurg will be back next week. I'm pretty sure he misses being on the cast like we miss him being on the cast. But yeah, I think I plugged in everything. Nothing else. Dame, do you have anything to plug?
Nope.
All right. To all of our listeners listening, if you made it this far, we appreciate the shit out of you. And until next time, peace.